Hi everyone, it's Hans here, the founder of Cappuccino, and welcome to this latest episode of Flat Whites and Insights, a podcast created to allow a space for open, honest and vulnerable conversations with real people, all over a beautiful cup of coffee. We're here in my home, so I'll be providing the flat whites, and my guests, they'll be providing the insights. So grab a coffee for yourselves, take a moment, and I hope you enjoy this latest conversation. Thank you, take care, and enjoy.
Josh, morning. Thank you for taking the time to join me on Flat Whites and Insights. Appreciate you taking up a Sunday morning for this.
Good morning, my bro. No, always a pleasure. And we've had so many good conversations, more time off the cuff when we bumped into each other, but it's always a pleasure to chat to you.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why as soon as I was thinking about who do I want to get on for this series, there's a name that came straight to my head. And it's interesting because a few people have mentioned to me, and we were just saying before we hit record about, like Josh Parker, you can ask about his career, asking about life as a footballer. And I'm sure we'll touch a little bit on football, but I actually when I think of you, I don't really necessarily think of you as a footballer.
Yeah.
I think of...
Sorry to cut you off. It's funny you say that because I said to my missus maybe 2 months ago, we went to an event and I said, do you know how nice it was for people to come up to me and be like, not Josh Parker, the footballer, like that I was once known for, even though I still play football, but all the other things that I'm doing. I was like, it was actually nice to walk in a room and some people who didn't know me as a footballer just know me as the bits I'm doing now. So
yeah, no, it's amazing. And so as I said, some people might know you from the game, but for those who don't know you, you're right to give a brief introduction. And so you said about the bits you're doing now. You're right to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, Josh Parker, as they probably all know now. I've played football professionally since the age of 16. I played in 4 different countries if I include my national side. So I was in the UK, I played in Scotland, I played in Slovenia, Serbia, and obviously I played for Antigua and Barbuda. I'm still currently playing now at Oxford City. I've been part of 4 promotions, one with QPR, one with Wycombe, one with Charlton, and one with Oxford last year. And now I like to think of myself as a budding entrepreneur. I have multiple things that I'm kind of invested in right now in terms of it's very much in the wellness sector, around mental health, well-being, holistic health, anything to do with kind of bettering the individual. So that's where I'm currently at now.
Amazing. No, thank you. And just there, as you're reading it off about the promotions, about obviously I'm a Wycombe fan, so it was kind of at the time when you were at Wycombe that I kind of really got to know you, and through your relationship with Tony, and he obviously Tony Coffee Shop in Wycombe. I've got to give it a shout out while we're on. But so and actually a story that I love is obviously, so unfortunately when Wycombe got promoted, it was behind closed doors. It was the whole COVID, the lockdowns. Don't really want to talk too much about the lockdowns. That's a whole other conversation. But I remember because I was watching it on the telly, and then the next morning, I think we caught up at the coffee shop, and I just thought that was mad. Like to go from you're there, and then just the fact you had the time, and you were there at the shop, and we just had a conversation, and that was so I really appreciated that, and that was amazing. But where does your relationship with like Tony go back as well? Because
so Tony, I call him my godfather because like he's probably the one male figure in my life that I can always depend on. Like he's like a father, but it's weird to call him my father because of our relationship, because he's like my boy as well, but then also he's like my mentor. Like he's like everything enrolled into one. So
but like, as you say, father figure, like that father figure.
Yeah, like, I call him Godfather because like when people think of God, like the religious people, they think of like the highest, and then obviously father is someone that obviously brings you into this world. So like for me, like he's been there since I was young. He was my coach from probably the age of 5 or 6, and then he became, like when I say coach, like I used to do all the summer camps with him.
Yes.
And then he was obviously learning to be a coach, etc. And when I got to about the age of, I think it was about 14 or 15, no, it must have been 14, maybe younger than that. I went and joined his team because I was playing at another team before, Sunday League team. And then I went and joined his team, and we went on to like just win everything. We even won, it's funny, we won I don't know if it's still the record now. We won the county cup, the under 16s county cup, 8-0. The biggest record ever. We played Princess Risborough.
Yeah. I'll probably be able to find it out with my work now. My day job, I work so I can verify that.
Yeah. So and then he helped me get into QPR, where my career started. So yeah, he's played a very significant role in my life, and obviously still does now. So
yeah, no, incredible guy. I've only got to know him through the shop, but yeah, I just think the same. Is what I love as well about that space is it's about, the coffee's there, but it's about the conversation, and anyone can walk in there. And I've never really been in another coffee shop where I'll go in, I'll start talking to Tony, and I'll just start talking to people, strangers, and the conversation goes, and that's amazing.
I always say it's like an adult youth club.
Yeah, you can just turn up and just
you can play games, and then all of a sudden you're having like a debate with like 4 or 5 people about politics, about life, about health, about whatever it is. Like it always becomes a long debate, and you end up staying longer than you plan to.
100%. No, it's great, and it's became a little bit of a. So there's a couple of other Wickham fans that made it a bit of a routine. Whenever there was a home game, we'd go down to Tone, have our coffee, chat with Tony. Obviously, into his football, so we'd be talking about the game and everything, and then we'd head on to the game, and that was a really nice kind of little routine. I don't get along to Wickham as much now. I've got myself involved at Didcot Town, so spend most of my time there now. But it's a really cool spot. If ever I'm back in Wickham, then I try and make sure I pop by. But okay, we'll touch on the football a little bit. I think there'll be people who are watching this because of the football. I know you're not the footballer, but obviously you're still playing. Captain of Antigua and Barbuda, I believe.
Yeah. Yes.
When you're in the side, and I guess a question: what does it mean to you to play for your national side, and what does Antigua and Barbuda mean to you?
You know, it's an interesting one because the island's so small, people try and disregard the magnitude of playing for your country. It's like you'll get people say, "Oh, you're going on holiday again?" Because I just so happen to be from a small island and like a beautiful island. But for me, most of my greatest memories, even including the promotions, most of my greatest memories have come on international duty. I'm talking from a experience perspective, like a life perspective. If I wasn't so blessed to play for like such a beautiful country and a small country, I would have seen probably 95% of the islands that I've got to go to. So it's one of the biggest blessings that I can ever imagine or ever think of, because there probably isn't more than 5 Caribbean islands that I haven't been to. So I've been playing since the age of 17, and I'm now 32. So 15 years I've been able to travel around the Caribbean whilst playing football, whilst experiencing the islands, the different cultures, the food, the people. So like for me, it goes way beyond football. It goes so far beyond football. And obviously I get to go back home. I didn't grow up knowing my dad. So it's kind of bridged that divide or that gap that I might have had going forward. So for me, it's probably done a lot more than it has for the average person. But that's why I've never said no to going. Like I've had fallouts with managers about, I don't think you should this time. But if that was England, Scotland, Wales, or whoever, you wouldn't say that. But because it's my small island, don't want me to go because you don't hold it to the same level that is. But for me, it is that level. For me, if anything, it's above that, because for me, for what I want to achieve with Antigua, it's more possible than England winning a World Cup, because of my island is so small. Like even to go to a little thing like a Gold Cup would be historic. Whereas I think like England or Scotland or Wales winning a Euros or a World Cup is highly unlikely. Like we always fall short. So it's no different to me.
No, that's amazing. I love hearing you talk about that. And I know something you mentioned there about not knowing your father growing up and the way it kind of maybe connects you to him a little bit. And no, I love hearing that. And it's interesting. So talking about father figures, we've mentioned Tony already, and I kind of want to come onto this because my parents split when I was quite young. I was 10, 11, and I remember, that feeling of not having a man at home. So I lived with my mum, my two sisters, and me, and then I was at an all-boys school, so I was in this very male-dominated environment. I didn't necessarily have like a father at home. I saw him like every couple of weeks, but even to this day, like get on well with my dad. But I say to people, I feel he's more like a mate. Like we've got that. We don't have that deep connection, and he doesn't mind me saying that. We feel the same. Like some people like always like talking to their dad or can go to him for advice. That's not necessarily something that I had growing up. So I can relate. I think it's something that I know you've done. Is it Dads United? Dads Reunited. It's like a football team, and
So I did that because someone reached out to me, just basically saying I'm going through something similar to what you went through, and obviously when I think I did obviously a lot of people knew what I'd been going through, because I was in court for so long with my son, so because I think it's true. I know a lot of the things that we do and go through in life is trauma based, so that's why I say trauma isn't a bad thing. It's just your reaction to trauma that makes it bad. So my trauma was, right, I'm not with my son's mum, don't be your dad. Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
In terms of not being your son's dad. So I did everything that I had to, not wanted to, everything that I had to as a father to make sure I was in his life. And at the time I was also abroad, which throws in another like spanner in the works, because, okay, you're going for custody in some capacity, but you're not even in the same country. So how does that look? What can you ask? What would a judge accept? And we know the child courts are very, very biased and lopsided. So, but I knew I had to at least do it. And I think when you're a good person, it will always work in your favor, to which it did with me. But then also, obviously, there's other people that are going through it that don't have that same outcome. So a guy reached out to me and said, basically, I'm going through X, Y, and Z. I'm trying to raise money because I can't afford court. I've started this charity called Dads Reunited. We're going to play a game once a year, try and get people out, try and spread the word about this, try and get the government to look at how the system works, etc. So that must be about 4 or 5 years ago now. And obviously we play a game every June. And they're trying to build it. Obviously it's hard when you're like, he's a one-man band essentially, and we just kind of help with the motion and stuff like that any way we can, and we still speak all the time. But there's so many people going through it, it's hard to help everyone.
No, 100%. And I think it resonated with me, probably because a little bit of my own joy, where I say it's not that my dad wasn't able to see me, so I guess in a way it wasn't the same challenges that maybe people face, but and I think it resonated even when we were trying to arrange this call, and I know you were like, oh, can we do it early because I want to spend the day with my family and stuff. So I know family is a big thing for you. And again, like even where you've said there, you don't want your son to have the same as you, like not knowing, having time with growing up and stuff. So no, amazing credit to you for that as well. And getting involved in that. It's great to see. But something I want to ask about as well. Last question, probably around the football stuff. Is early in your career, so you played, and I think I've seen you talk about it on other podcasts. So you had experience playing out in Europe. One of the biggest clubs in Europe, I believe, like Red Star, was it? Now, I know with you, we can have conversations about topics that's something. So it's still today we see there's a problem in football. There's still the people taking the knee, the racism. As a young player growing up, and I know there's a long and a short side of the story, but how much, and you say about trauma and how you react to it, how traumatic was that experience when you reflect on it as a young player?
See, in the moment it feels traumatic, but then on the flip side it doesn't. It almost felt like a blessing, because the person that I was when I was going through it isn't the person that I am now. So I'm equipped different, and that's how life works. You have to go through things to be able to be equipped with the kind of extra layer of thickness on your back, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
At the time, like there wasn't like when I'd be walking on the streets or like around the club, there was no like racism. Like it would be through social media. A lot of these people that you don't see, but obviously because of the 90% of that country, well, 95% of that country is Red Star, like in terms of support.
Yeah.
It's a religion, like it really, really is a religion to them. They're born told to love Red Star, like being told to love Red Star. So it was only when like things didn't go the team's way or like it was never really like anything that I'd done. Like I never did anything wrong. It was just like I think it's the same way racism works in any capacity. When someone's different to you, you attack that thing. It's the easiest thing to attack.
Yeah.
Like,
so you mean it's a bit like we talk about the Saka Rashford penalty.
Yeah,
like, they're English and you
Yeah.
support them when they're getting you to the final. As soon
Yeah.
as something goes wrong,
yeah, it's
focus
easiest
on the difference.
their skill. Like, it's interesting. Like I really think it should be like delved into like on a real scientific level, like or like a deeper like a psychological level, because I get it, but I don't. Like if you know what I mean. I get like yeah, you're gonna attack the thing that you like. It's like if I'm overweight and I'm arguing with a skinny person, I'm gonna go, "Are you skinny?" Da 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 da. Da. The difference is that racism is obviously deep rooted in something deeper, like death, and it's continuous to this day in terms of how it is used to suppress people. So, like, I'm one of these people where, as I've got older, it's going to sound a bit controversial.
No,
so,
not you. Controversial, never.
Where a lot of black people in the UK and globally are saying, "Oh, we just want equality." I don't believe equality exists. I think fairness exists. So treat me fairly. Don't treat me equally, because if you're a middle class white person, you're not going to understand the lower class black experience. I don't expect you to. I shouldn't expect you to, because you don't have a relationship with that experience. But treat me fairly. So say hello to me without being scared. Say, talk to me normally. Don't talk to me about, oh, what country you're from then, or da 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 da, like, or like you're from Jamaica. Like all these like little things like that people might say. Like, speak to me normally, and if we get to that conversation, we get to that conversation. But yeah, I don't believe in equality. It don't matter if we're talking about, take racism out of it. Men, women, we're not equal. We are fair, if you get what I mean. And when I say fair, we complement each other. That's how I see fair. Like you are respectful of one another. Women are more loving, more maternal, more nurturing. Men, we're more hardwired to go and compete and go and fight, and we'll do whatever we have to in order to get a result. Like whether it's in our job, whether it's financially, we will work 23 hours a day if we have to. Do you know what I mean? Like, so there is no equality in this world. There's just fairness.
Yeah, no, I can see what you're saying. Yeah, and I think it's that something that there's this image that we often get shown. And I can't remember what the wording is around it. Is that you treat everyone fairly, but also people don't all need the same things to get the same outcomes. So I think it's people, like there's a barrier. People are watching a sports game or something. It's like the shortest person needs a bigger box than the tall person, and it's not exactly. It's just about, you don't have to give everyone the same thing. It's just make sure that it comes down to this basic, just respect, isn't it? I think
that's all it is. Like,
just
so
respect people for being them, and that's all you need.
And like, you don't have to agree with everything everyone does. People don't have to agree with a black person kissing their teeth, but just understand it. Like, it's just an understanding, because I always used to use the analogy that if I'm angry in a changing room and the manager's getting onto me and I kiss my teeth, because he doesn't understand what the kissing my teeth means, like it's like my way of saying fuck's sake without saying fuck's sake. When a black person kisses their teeth, that's what it is. But
so
then,
it's almost like the equivalent of, and sorry, I'm just asking this now because I guess it's, for me, it's again something like if I was like, or someone would like roll their eyes or something. Is it like similar to that?
Exactly. But when you have cultural understanding, you'll go, "Oh, you're kissing your teeth at." But then if say for example, the white person goes, for fuck's sake, or that's the same thing. Do you know what I mean? So understanding, you ain't got to like, you just got to understand there's different people and just like let them be different. You might not like it, but that's just their way. Do you know what I mean? And that's how I see this whole like racism thing. Like, I might look different to you, and I don't believe in the whole, like, let me say, I do believe in it, but I don't believe in it. So when people are saying we are one, yes, we are one human race and da 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 da, but we have individual experiences or cultural experiences that are the same. Like, if I go to my white friend, like, and I've got loads of them, oh, on my roast dinner we have rice and we have mac and cheese. They'd be like, what? Do you know what I mean? So like, just like, it's just different things, but just to be like, oh, that's cool. Like, just maybe I could try that. Da, 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 da. Like, there is no, we are one as a collective in terms of the human race, but there's individual things within that, or individual differences within that. It's just to accept the differences. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's all it comes to, isn't it? Just accept it, and not everyone has. There isn't a right. Obviously, with certain things, there's a right or a wrong thing, but in terms of the way of being and things, it's just allowed to be themselves.
I think you are right when you said there is no right and wrong. All there is perspective.
Yeah.
So there is no right and wrong. There is right and wrong in everything. It's just polarity. Like, it's just like where you sit on the radar. Like, me and you having this conversation, for us two, it's good. For someone else who's watching it, they're chatting rubbish. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just come down to your perspective on how you look at life, or what you're looking for at that present moment in time.
No, 100%. So I'll circle it back. Obviously, that experience, that playing, and you say it was almost, you just felt like, and I guess the term to use is probably scapegoat. Like, it felt like if something was going well, then you're part of the team. If something was going wrong, not going well, then so. And I know one example, and I think I remember you talking about it, is you actually scored a goal, but like you took it off someone else's foot or something. And then you score, but then still people were giving you abuse because they're like, you don't do that.
Like literally, like, it wasn't even like I was trying. It was just like, when you just react.
Yeah, instinct.
Instinct. And somehow it became a negative.
Yeah.
Like, the team won, first home game of the season, big crowd, and somehow they managed to turn it into a negative. I'm just like, like, it's already, like, I can already see the landscape.
Give you an idea of what it is. Yeah. Their perspective is very, very different to ours. But cool. No, I appreciate that. And at the moment, so at Oxford City, where you're playing, and I know they got promoted last year, first time ever to the National League. I know you've been doing well this season as well, getting the goals. It's great to see you playing regularly, getting goals. And I always say to people, and this is be interesting because, again, I'll be interested to get your perspective on this. So when I saw you go to Oxford City, my first thought was, he's too good to be playing at that level. But and I'll be honest, I still say that, probably even National League. But I think I remember hearing you say something, or maybe even we had a conversation, that you actually quite like the fact that it was part-time because it allows you to be the budding entrepreneur that you're talking about. So at this stage in your career, at this stage in football, it just seems like the right fit. And we'll talk about the other things now that you're doing. But what's that like then, going from being, like, say, full-time to then the part-time?
It wasn't that hard. Maybe it wasn't that hard because obviously I'd come off the back of a long-term injury and obviously getting told that I should retire. So it was a case of, I'd got used to, in that injury time, of I got used to being a father or a normal person in some capacity, being able to take the kids to school, being able to pick them up, being able to go to the gym in the morning with my partner or go for lunch and stuff like this. But obviously reality strikes that you have to eventually earn an income. You can't just be living this kind of free life that I was living while I was injured. But it also made me realize that sometimes you have to make necessary sacrifices in order for your happiness. So sometimes you have to do something that might be uncomfortable for a year and a half, maybe 2 years. And a lot of people don't have the patience nowadays. but I made the conscious decision to do so because I believed that in the long run it would aid my growth, if you get what I mean, as an individual.
Yes.
And then, like I said, I always speak on it. Whenever I've gone through my career, and I always look back at it, whenever I've come through some adversity, things have really gone in my favor. Like I left Gillingham through an argument, defending someone, and then it was a day before the transfer window closed. I go to Charlton, I get promoted.
Yes, yeah.
Charlton didn't keep me on, and a lot of the other players that got them promoted, a lot of the other boys that got them promoted, they got relegated. Wickham got promoted.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? For the first time in history.
Yeah.
I left Wickham on good terms. So whenever things have gone whenever people have treated me well, and it sounds really spiritual and superstitious, whenever people have treated me well, things have gone well for them. I went to Burton. I asked to go to Burton. They were bottom of the league.
Yeah.
They up. I then left Burton. I obviously got injured, went to Oxford. They got promoted for the first time in history. So when did it stop becoming coincidence? Like, I'm not saying it's because I'm some world beater player, but I like to think that whenever I come into a room or to an environment, I lift it.
Yeah.
Like through my energy, through maybe my practices and the conversations that I had. Like when I was at Wickham, I got all the boys on juicing. I think they still do it to this day. All of them bought juicers. They're going to the day, they're juicing, doing fasting, doing watermelon fast, all these things. They're trying vegan food, all these different things. And the same everywhere I've gone. Obviously, when I was at Red Star, I was there, and even when they were treating me bad, I was treating them good. If you know what I mean, I was treating the boys good. I was acting normal. They went on to, I think, break Arsenal's record of unbeaten games. So a consistent thing where whenever I've been in an environment, I like to think I've added something energetically to it. QPR, they promoted in 20 years. The season I broke through properly, they get promoted.
Yeah.
I don't believe in coincidences. I really don't. And only because of that stuff that I see. That's me blowing smoke up my own butthole. But I like to think that I'm a positive person, and I individuals feel good about themselves and believe in themselves because I have such high expectations of myself.
100%. It's that whole setting that expectation, coming in and maybe bringing something different, bringing that energy and making people actually think about what they're doing, whether that's their routines, how they're treating their body, what they're putting in their body. Because
100%.
a lot of those small margins is what contributes to the environment. And I know it's something that I think I remember actually the season at Wickham, and there was an interview with yourself, and it was talking about the energy in the dressing room and what you bring, and that's something that I think stands out for me around yourself. And you just say it's about the energy, and I can imagine for young players particularly, just making them reconsider. You know, if you're coming in, I can imagine now even at Oxford City, there's a lot of the young players there maybe, or people who've not played at that level. Just giving them that, and I guess we spoke about perspectives earlier. Just challenge it. I can imagine you're not afraid to challenge someone in the dressing room if they're doing something that you don't think is best.
And I think that's why I can speak on so many things, because I've gone through so many experiences. I've gone through more in football than I know, than any other player I know. Like I've played abroad in one of the biggest teams in Europe and had it go sour, been threatened by fans, been told I'm going to get kidnapped, this and that. I've been fighting court battles that players might go through after their career with their children while I'm at a club abroad. I've gone through everything. I've had, periods of time where when I left Red Star, obviously I couldn't sign at a team because they wouldn't give me my transfer papers. Other players haven't gone through that. And then all of a sudden I've gone from playing for one of the biggest teams in Europe to 2 weeks later serving coffee in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Which is exactly why you saw me the day after we got promoted at Wickham, be in the coffee shop, because I realized that it's that gold medal syndrome where, okay, I've done it now. What's next? That's how life works, unfortunately. You don't really get to bask in it. You are a progressive being. So I can speak on all these things because of my experience. So when I'm saying to young boys now, if you're not in a team, it's a you problem. It's something you've done. And they're like, no, the manager don't like me. Well, would he like you if in training you were scoring 30 goals in the finishing and you didn't miss? Do you get what I mean? So
Yeah.
we have to take accountability, and that's what I'm kind of. And if you are not at the point where you are able to take accountability, then the least you can do is maintain your quality. And when I say maintain your quality, smile, be happy. You're playing football. This is what you want to do from the age of 6. Oh yeah, but I'm not playing. Okay, but you're in a professional environment with a contract, with secure income, with the possibility to play the next game if you train well, or if you do well, or if you work hard. So you've already won.
It's that how many people would kill to be in the position that you're in, and it's like that with everything, not just in a football environment. I think that we talk about gratitude. It's something that I didn't really consider until I didn't really know what mental health was, or even think about it until I kind of had to. And obviously it was very reactive rather than proactive, and that unfortunately is the case, especially with guys. It's almost that, no, I don't need to. I'm tough. I don't need to talk about that. I'll sort it out. But yeah, that just taking accountability, as you say, for looking after yourself. And I think that probably segues nicely into daily deposits, which is your latest venture. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but daily deposits is because how I think of it is if you make a deposit into a bank and then it gains like interest, it's an investment. Am I along the right lines? But you're doing it to yourself, you're investing in yourself.
Hit the nail on the head. And it's funny because daily deposits came to fruition when I was at Wickham. Because I was the first one at training every day. I was getting in at like maybe 7 o'clock, and I was in before the manager some days. And I was making the investment into myself to kind of show him that I'm doing extra. Then I'd stay out and do running after. And I wasn't getting anything for it. I wasn't getting anything. But that's where it kind of came to fruition, the whole idea of daily deposits, when I was going through that period of time, that no matter what he was doing or not doing, should I say, I was still reaping the benefits because I was doing what I needed to do. Because if you took away football, I'd still do those things as a person. In terms of try and be the best self, try and eat right, try and drink right, so that's where it came to fruition, and you hit the nail on the head. It literally is about depositing something into I always call it to the bank of self. So this bank, instead of being called Barclays, is called Self. And every day you go and put some money in, put an investment in, knowing that the return on that investment over time will only cause the bank and the individual to appreciate. So if you can appreciate in value, you're going to be an asset to whoever decides to be around that.
I love it. And it's something that I really have started thinking myself in the last few years, is work more on yourself than your job.
100%.
And that is another way of thinking that. So that's what I'm thinking of. Everything I'm doing is, although I want to do a good job for my manager and I always want to achieve, it's first and foremost, it's for me. Like I even say, and now again, it's a team effort. We got that award I was saying before we hit camera that just got recognised nationally for the work we're doing in mental health awareness in the county area. And it's the first time I spoke in front of it. It was like 400 people. I can't tell you what I said.
It's all a blur.
It was a bit of a blur, but went up there, but spoke from the heart. And I've been joking with my manager. I report to the CEO at Barks and Bucks. She said, like, "Oh, are you practicing your acceptance speech?" And I was half joking. I said, "Look, it's up here, but actually it's in here." I was like, "I'm just going to speak from the heart." And we were kind of having a joke, but then I went up and I went up on stage in front of 400 people at the FA and just said, "Look, I'm someone with anxiety, I'm someone with depression." And I think in the football environment, to go up and say that, to me, because in my circles I speak about it quite a lot, and you know how sometimes there's that echo chamber in your networks. You to me, saying I've got anxiety, saying I live with depression isn't a big thing for me anymore. It was, and I'm not belittling that at all. But I think as I came on saying the reaction of people, I didn't think I'd said anything that was that powerful. But you can say about perspective again, and people saying, "Oh, it's brave" and stuff. And I've got to give credit to my manager for obviously creating that space in our own team that I can be authentic, I can be myself. But yeah, I guess, and as I say, working on myself, and we were joking, it's like, that recognition is so important. as much as that's not why we're doing it. I don't do it for the awards. You know, I'll take it if people start to understand what we're doing, because it's
But that's
just
what
going
I'm saying. I think what you'll find, and a lot of people don't have the discipline. This is what I think the generations now lack, is discipline to consistently work at yourself with no expectation. You'll find that the rewards in whichever capacity, whether it's a physical reward or life rewarding you, it tends to come when you work on yourself. One,
yeah,
because the energy that you're giving off and the exuberance that you have for life kind of propels off of you and bounces back, like people speak about the law of attraction. But also those people around you, it opens up doors. So when you walk in a room, you might have walked in 5 years ago like kind of a bit timid and shy. Now you're walking and be like, hi, my name's Bum, this is what I do. And they're like, wow, like you're really a good person.
100%.
You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
comes from daily deposits. That comes from the things you choose to do on a day-to-day basis, whether it's simple things like having the best coffee you can have ever. Instead of having some cheap one, you're like, I make mine from scratch. It's good quality coffee. And then I have this much water. Those things make the biggest difference. The biggest difference, because people don't realize like how everything we do is like on a micro level. So not drinking enough water, all of a sudden it gets to 12 o'clock and you're like, I'm banging migraine. Why have I got a migraine? Oh, obviously I'm this, I'm tired. When in actual fact, it's just because you're dehydrated, but then that dehydration then impacts your whole day,
yeah,
because then you've got a headache, then you've got to go home and sleep. Then you're like, oh, because I slept, I haven't eaten, and I didn't do the emails that I was supposed to do, and I still got to get prepared for work tomorrow, and it has a knock-on effect. Whereas if you could do the simple, small things that you can control, like they say, control the controllables, then
yeah.
it will just propel you forward.
No, certainly. And I think it's that respecting the little things, because the little things are actually often the big things that if you neglect them, and people try to overcomplicate it, I think sometimes people try to overcomplicate self-care, they overcomplicate respecting themselves and life in general. Like life
Yeah,
is simple when you break it down to, you know, where we come from, and
yeah,
humans
yeah.
100 years ago didn't have all this technology, screens, and
Mm-hmm.
just, you know,
Yeah,
eat well, exercise,
yeah,
drink water. So we're social beings, connect with people. And
yeah.
I mean, I'm saying this, I don't always practice what I preach, of course. I mean, there'll be people looking at me like that. You're saying this, you're not exactly in the best shape. Da, 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 da. I've just started gym. I'm trying to become more disciplined with that.
Yeah.
But
I think you're right. Like everyone holds everyone else to their own expectation. And I think that's wrong. Like, because even when you use the word exercise, when people think of exercise, the word, they think of like bench pressing this, squatting that, like doing this. Like they think of the most. Literally, if you walk for half an hour a day, you're probably better off than 75% of the planet.
yeah,
You get
yeah,
what I mean? You ain't got to be, you might not want to be a flipping marathon runner with a six pack and biceps bulging out. You might just want to be on the planet as long as possible. So, you know, if you drink, say, for example, you look at yourself like a car, if you put some oil in, which is the water, and you drive the car a little bit every day, then the car's always going to be good. Whereas if you just leave it there, it's going to become sedentary and just like rot and
yeah, yeah,
like destroy itself. So the fact that even you're moving is a plus.
yeah. No, definitely. It's that, again, that small step, and people, especially with social media now, there's all that comparison, and just work on yourself, isn't it? It's just be better, be a better you tomorrow than you are today.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it comes into that again, making those deposits and just doing it for you.
100%.
So daily deposits. So I know you have retreats, is that right? So
Yes.
for those who don't know what a daily deposit retreat is, and I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure what the retreat is, but I saw you got your videos. But what does that look like in reality?
So we have two forms of retreats. So we have one where it's a 3-day retreat, where we go, well, it's been in recent times, to the south of Wales, no, north of Wales, sorry. And we're there for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to arrive on a Friday, and everyone kind of, it's weird. No one ever introduces themselves. They just kind of start talking. Because you're in the middle of nowhere in a forest,
Yeah,
like no one has their phones. They get like to check on their phone in the morning, see if, obviously because everyone worries about emergencies and stuff like that. But you get on a Friday evening, we literally have a sit down meal together, and people just start talking like normal human beings. Like when you take away the phone and isolate people in a group away from everything, they do normal human stuff and build relationships that make them feel like family. Like if any of the people that came on the retreat saw each other on the street right now, I guarantee you the first thing they would do, yeah, male and male or male and female, they would hug. It like that's one thing that we say. Like, so I don't shake people's hands when they come on a retreat. I give them a cuddle, because the reason that they're coming on the retreat is because they need something. They're going through something. You don't just come on a retreat for like, oh yeah, I'm here to have a good time. Like, no, it's never that. No retreats are about a good time. You will have a good time, but it's not the reason you come. It's because you've got some work that you want to do. So we arrive on a Friday, have a meal together. Everyone starts talking. Naturally, everyone starts to know each other's name, what they do, if they've got kids, etc. Saturday, we wake up and then we kind of open the space, we call it. So we'll have like a sharing circle where everyone will say their name, how old they are, why they're there. And then we do this thing where we basically get a ball of string, and after you wrap it around your wrist, and after you've said your piece, you pass it to the next person, but it's still connected. So you're almost creating like a bond.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then once everyone said their bit, they cut it, and then obviously they tie it, and then you have your little bracelet, like, because the energy is like in that circle. It keeps the energy flowing, if you get what I mean. Then we usually have breakfast together. Then we go on a hike. We go in if you want to, which very rarely does anyone say no because they feel the peer pressure. We do a cold lake plunge at the end of the hike. So we do like a 10K hike, just like in and around the mountain tops, and just walk at our own pace, not fast, we're just talking. Everyone kind of chops and changes groups, and some people walk off up front and we'll sit down and just take in the views. And then at the end, at about a kilometer from coming doing the full circle, there's a lake that we all jump in usually, and it's absolutely freezing. And we kind of hold hands and we walk in, and we have this practice where as you're walking in, you have to shout as loud as you can, because naturally everyone tries to do the macho thing and be like, and suffer in peace, like, or silence, suffer in silence. So basically everyone is in there as we're walking in, just screaming and shouting. Men, women were just like shouting to kind of get the frustration out. And then eventually you kind of plateau and you find like a comfortable, like you just get comfortable in it. You get comfortable in the discomfort. Get out and obviously flipping shivering, walk back. Then we have some downtime where people will literally, we have like that in the Wales one, there's a little ceremony room that was hand built and blessed by monks. And we kind of just sit in there with the heaters on and blankets, and everyone's reading or journaling, fires on. And then on the Saturday evening, I'm always 100% honest. Probably get in trouble for this, but then we have a mushroom ceremony. It's like 20 years of therapy in 5 hours. That's literally the easiest way I can explain it. It's really hard because it will bring everything that you're hiding in your subconscious to the forefront of your mind, and you won't be able to run from it. You have to face it.
You have to face
You'll
it.
be like, I always argue with my missus because, no, you'll be like, why do I always argue with my missus? Like, we had an argument yesterday and I love her, but she gets on my nerves. And then you might realize, actually, I'm the problem, because every time there's a conversation, I do this and I go, well, and I bite her. And then all of a sudden, you no longer bite.
Yeah, it's just.
But when you come out there, you'll be like, when the next incident arises, you'll be like, could I say to you, or I understand what you're saying, but, and everything changes about you. A lot of people say to me, I don't know what's changed, but I feel different. That's the saying I hear all the time. I don't know what it is, but I'm different. And like, I always laugh and I'm like, yeah, I hear it all the time. But we do that on the Saturday. Then on the Sunday, we do sound bowl therapy, meditation, breath work, more food, because obviously we have a chef there. And it's just like literally a weekend of therapy.
Yeah.
Because although I believe in therapy in terms of this is therapy. You talking is therapy.
Yeah,
Um, I can't say I don't believe, because people benefit from it, but I don't think there is a better therapy than honest conversations with yourself. But they're hard to do in your normal capacity, in my opinion, because most people run away from them. That's why people turn to alcohol and drugs, because they can't have the honest conversation with themselves, because it's a horrible place to be.
No, yeah. I think
But when we do
relate. I can relate. That also, I've been through, like, say, therapy myself, but now it's like, I needed it because I was avoiding it. I was running away, but having had the therapy, it's almost now understanding. Okay, I don't need to go to the hospital. I don't need to sit in a room with this person to do this now. You got the tools, and you said about trauma is like, it's growth, and bringing it back to that, like those experiences. And I always say that I'm very grateful for the breakdown I had. I did a bit of life coaching during lockdown, and the guy I did it with, Alex Manzi, I don't know the name rings a bell, but he did an interview with Darius, obviously, like also and Darius went on his podcast talking about all that. So that's how I discovered him. But he said that his breakdown was also his breakthrough, because it's like you then suddenly something changes, and I'll probably say to you, like, I don't know what's different, but I feel but it's changed. But I now, so 22 is my favorite number, because at 22 I stopped existing and started living, is what I would say.
You know what's interesting? This is going a bit skew-if, but it's not. In numerology, I'm really big into numbers. 22 is what's called a master number. And 22 is the number of the master builder. So basically, that's like a lot of people who are born on the 22nd or any date like that. Well, basically 22nd, and the number 22 itself have the ability of when you start to build. Like, so my missus is born on the 22nd, and anything she wants to do, it happens. But then she also got the trait of where if she doesn't want to do it anymore, she stops. But if she wants to make it into something, she can. So it's interesting that you say the number 22, because that's like a number of buildings. So you started to build yourself at that age. You started to become the person you are. But we also do overnight, I call them ceremonies, because it's not really a retreat. I don't think it's long enough to be classed as a retreat, but that's what people call it. We do them in Buckinghamshire, so not always up in Wales, but we do overnight ones in Buckinghamshire, in Wickham. And we was doing them every month because there was that many people requesting them. And like I said, I took a break to kind of visualize what I actually want from this and how I want it to look, what I need to do, taking accountability, like we said. So the next one I've just organized is the 23rd of December, which is the winter solstice. So for a religious person, obviously, they'll tell you that Jesus died on Christmas Day, which history will tell you he didn't. But for someone who is not religious and maybe believes in the planet itself, will tell you that the sun is the sun. And obviously through the winter solstice is when it lays to rest. So it stays dormant for 3 days, almost like, and it resurrects, and it starts to get longer days again. So we do it on the winter solstice because that's basically when the sun starts to rise.
Nice. No, amazing. I'm conscious of time. It's been a great conversation though, and as I say, it always is when we get to chat, and it's just good to kind of get this one recorded, put it out there, and hopefully people listening will be able to. I'm hoping people maybe come because for the football, but then they leave or stay because of actually the person, if that makes sense.
That is the best way to put it.
That's what I hope. So I just want to finish. I asked the question I ask everyone. What does happiness mean to you?
Happiness means to me looking in the mirror and being proud of the person you are, because the mirror doesn't lie.
Yeah, love it. Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, my bro.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this latest episode of Flat Whites and Insights, and I really hope you gained something from that conversation. I know I certainly did. It would mean a lot if you can like and subscribe on whatever platform you may be watching or listening on, but also if you head over to Instagram and give me a follow at Cappuccino. This is the best place to contact me, but also see the latest developments on the platform as we look to increase awareness of mental health through my passions for coffee and football. In addition, if you've heard something that you can relate to or you want to talk about a little bit more, feel free to message me on that platform. But also, if you fancy coming on yourself and having a conversation, then do let me know, because I'm always keen to connect with new people and get insights into other areas and other passions and other challenges that I might have no experience of myself. Thanks again, and I really hope you tune in for the next episode. Take care of yourselves. I've been Hans. Thank you.